the Dumb Saints podcast. I'm Alex.
PJ.
Thank you guys for joining us. Man, we had an awesome episode last week with
Honestly,
Bryce.
Yeah.
Joyful noise. And we had, listening to his story, you get a picture of what we're actually talking about today.
Yes.
So I think it's a great episode to go back and listen to.
Oh, what was that guy's name? Horace?
Yeah, so his friend that invited him
Yes.
to
That might be the wrong name, but Harold or Horace.
to look at the Bible with him.
Yes.
Hey, sit down with me. So that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about evangelism.
EVANGELISM.
Okay, good. You're in the spelling bee, and
Dude,
you
know
make
that,
it to the next
you
round.
know that kid at the school who hasn't lost for 3 years in a
We
row?
literally have a superstar.
He is a spelling bee champion.
He cannot lose.
He beats the high schoolers.
It's like a
And he has a
superpower.
cadence to it. He's like
It's a superpower.
EVAN.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows.
He's good.
Like, quarterback of the football team, pretty cool. But the kid that literally doesn't know how to spell something wrong,
Yeah.
superhero.
I want that kid on my team.
Okay, anyway, so that has zero
Can
to
he
do.
catch a touchdown? Probably not. Can he read the plays? Yes.
Yeah, he probably can. He'll never forget. All right, so here's the thing. What if I told you that 99% of church evangelism strategies are broken?
Dude, that seems like a high percentage, but like
Definitely.
I've been a part of church my whole life, and we still do a lot of like what we did for my like small Spanish church growing up.
Right. So they've been doing
I'm agreeing that it's
how long do you think they've been doing the same strategy?
the church as a collective, I believe, probably has gotten a little more towards the middle of it because we've been too extreme
Mm-hmm.
on the evangelism side. And I don't mean extreme as in like, oh, they're going hard for it. It's like, no, we're doing too much.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a way that the scripture has definitely given us a handful of examples of how Jesus has interacted with people, and people who do evangelism nowadays don't even try his approach. So I think we've come to a place now, we're in 2026.
Yeah.
Dude, think about this. When we were growing up, evangelism, like, you didn't have to worry about so much outward sin that there is now. Now it's like people try to do evangelism at these like gay pride parades or these things like so I imagine it's even harder now.
Yeah, so that's one of the issues, and we'll break it down. But the culture,
this is what people
the
are
culture
familiar
war
with, yeah.
side of it is
Yeah.
kind of a newer thing.
Yeah.
That's not something that our
Yeah.
grandparents necessarily had to deal with,
No.
because a lot of the standards within Christian churches were the standards
Yeah.
for everyone at the time.
Exactly.
You know, if you got a girl pregnant in the 50s,
That was worse.
you were marrying her.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a church thing. That was just like a societal thing.
Well, I'm gonna say, but the church also, it's like, dude, I mean, I know people, you may know people where it's like they have gotten pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, hey, you need to get married before this baby actually comes out.
Yeah, of course.
We gotta save.
And so now that is counter to the culture, whereas it used to be that was pretty standard. That was the societal norm for
Mhm.
people, whether they were Christians or not.
Yeah. I just believe that people probably had a stronger grip on their own values and just like honestly, I feel like we've come out of this place who had like a real hardworking, had values.
Yeah.
A lot, like even my grandparents who are from Puerto Rico,
Mhm.
even them, like, the American dream and having, they had 8 kids and like that
Right.
generation was so dope.
Yeah.
Now they have their own problems,
Right.
but if we keep trying to reach people how they kept trying to reach people, I don't think this and that's tough. Because like, do you just give up on that generation? Like, who is evangelizing to the older crowd? No one streams that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, here's the problem. Well, as far as what you're talking about, the big thing to point out is America.
Yeah.
We are now in a post-Christian era.
Yeah.
There's really nobody that you're going to tell about Jesus and they'll be like, oh, I've never heard about Jesus.
They've just heard the wrong idea of Jesus.
Yeah, but like everybody knows about churches. Everybody knows about Christianity. There's probably 10 churches in even a small town has.
And dude,
tons
there's been
of
enough
churches.
church failures that have gone public now that have just reassured people's beliefs in them already.
Right, like
when you're talking about evangelism.
it has solidified their
That's a better way
biases.
to put it. Yeah.
Like they already don't like the church, and
Yeah.
now they have reason
Yes.
to not like it.
Yes.
So it's a post-Christian nation. So here's some things. There was a little blip in this during the
Almost sneezed.
pandemic because churches declined so much that now we've seen some growth in the past 5 years. But that's not because we're reaching more people. It's just because people are starting to come back to church that left in 2020.
Yeah.
So let's say 2019, your church is at 200. Well, 2020, it drops down to 20, 40,
Because now you're talking about online viewers.
50, right?
I mean, if
Some
if you're
churches
a
went
church
down to
who's
0.
if you're a church who's able to do Facebook Live, or
Right.
these,
And then, so now the next year, maybe your average is up to 100 again. And then the next year, you're at 200 again. So it looks like, wow, you had 52% growth
Yeah.
last year. But it's really, you're just,
yes.
it's not because we're doing better at reaching lost people.
Which I think there has to be. Would you want to say a pat on the back for that? Because it's like, even so many people fell into this, like, dude, I've been going to church forever, every Sunday, my whole life. So when COVID hit, it was like, this is so new. Like, now we just gotta, like, you don't have to get dressed for church. You could literally pull up YouTube or your church's website and watch church.
Yeah.
And even then, like, it is the same, but it also isn't.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, like, have you ever, like, engaged in worship on a live stream?
No.
It's harder.
I say no. I put on some live recordings of worship music.
But you don't, like...
I've gone into it with the intention of, like, I'm going to worship.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard when I'm sitting there with my wife and my kid. You know, my kids are playing and maybe they're eating or having snacks.
It's just a different version of what church became.
It's not the same as you gathering with a group of believers. I've had my own personal prayer time where I'll throw on a recording or something. That's different. Yeah. So I shouldn't say no, I never have.
But what I'm trying to say is, like, at least they came back, because I think in that season, a lot of people left church altogether.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we got some people back, but it's like, we should have more.
Yeah.
It's in this time that the enemy, dude, which we all know, he uses isolation, he uses all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't have freaking human interaction, and people actually maybe like that better naturally.
Yeah.
So they just really fully lean into it. It's like the people who still wear masks today.
Yeah. Is that even a thing?
Yeah.
People do that.
Someone was wearing one yesterday.
So this is the reality. We're in post-Christian.
Yeah.
I said, what if I told you 99% of evangelism strategies are not working, are ineffective? There's no way to quantify that.
No.
But we know that most churches are not growing. Okay? So in the US, it used to be that 78% of people considered themselves Christians. That was in 2007.
I mean, this doesn't mean all Americans. It just means off the people who did the survey.
Yeah, but they're taking a large group of people from different parts of the U.S. Of course, any stats can be skewed, but I think it's probably worse than this.
Yeah, so
because
let's take
I think
the 78.
Because I think 78% of those people is people like we talked about a few episodes where they're like, my favorite color is blue. They're like, yeah, I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
But then we say, well, how often do you attend church? Are you practicing? Do you believe, Jesus is the only way to heaven? Whatever. You start whittling that down, and it's probably way less than 78%.
When you have that realization, it brings this topic to an even more important light, because evangelism is so important.
Yeah. So 78% in 2007. Now in 2023 or to 2024, it's down to 62%.
Wow, I would have expected more, but praise God.
So then the the religiously unaffiliated has risen to about 29%.
That's good.
No, that's religiously unaffiliated, meaning
like
atheist.
They weren't before?
No, that's like
and now they go to church?
No, atheist, agnostic. I'm not a Christian. I don't believe in God.
That has grown.
To
I thought like
29%.
those people started coming to church.
No. So church membership has been decreasing. In 1998 to 2000, 70% of Americans said they belonged to a church, a house of worship.
Well, dude, just think of how many churches in our own town and in towns like that you visited. So many have closed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just off that alone.
Yeah, for sure. So 1998 to 2000, 70% of Americans said they belonged to a church, and now it's less than 50%. of people say they're actually a part of a
Dude,
church.
so like by the end of 2026, it's gonna be like 42%.
Right.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
with that said, most churches saw fewer than 10 new decisions for Christ
Like in a year?
in a year. Yeah.
Could we pause there? Dude, you have what, 56 minimum 56 services a year?
But that's including churches that have 20 people or churches that have 50 people.
Oh, okay.
And so like on a
All
grand
right, on
scale.
the great average, yeah, okay.
But I'm saying all of this. My point is what we're doing
Isn't working.
isn't working.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of really great churches that are growing.
Yeah.
And they have capitalized on some strategies for evangelism that does work.
Yeah.
So today, we're just going to talk about what our church is doing that they should stop doing immediately when it comes to evangelism. And then what are some strategies that you could implement now in order to help reach lost people?
Yes.
There are many churches out there where this is not a priority. That is a huge mistake. I think that all of us as believers, we are called to the Great Commission, which is
Amen.
twofold: to go and make disciples,
Mm-hmm.
baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So we are supposed to make disciples. The first part of making a disciple is telling them about Jesus
Yeah.
and getting them to accept Christ. And then the second part is the walk from the altar where you're teaching them, this is what it looks like to be a Christian.
Yeah.
Here's what you should be reading in your Bible. These are the habits that you should be implementing. These are the old things that you've been doing that you should do away with. You can't keep doing this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the questions that I kind of typed out here: what if I told you 99% of evangelism strategies are broken? I can't back that up, but I think it's way more than. I think it's 75% and above of strategies. They don't work.
Yeah.
So here's a question: are we losing ground? According to
numbers, yes.
According to statistics, yes. So have we been doing it wrong all along? I don't think so.
No.
There has been huge moments of revival, specifically in the U.S., where the number of Christians has been increasing. But as I said before, we are now in a post-Christian society. This is after people know about Jesus.
Yeah.
So we are in uncharted territory. Maybe the Roman Empire had this because so many people became Christian. Eventually, being a Christian wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, and they're like, "What's this new religion coming in?"
So I don't. So now, yeah, it was. So maybe this has happened before, but in modern times, around the globe, Europe would be dealing with this. The U.S. is dealing with this.
Yeah.
Australia is dealing with this. We are in a post-Christian society, and so some of the strategies that did work, they don't work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that you can't really quantify in these stats that we're talking about is talking about people. Hey, do you consider yourself a Christian? Right? It doesn't quantify. Like, I wish we could ask every church in the U.S. and say, how many people did you convert
to Christianity?
Like how many people did your church congregation, your people, the body that you oversee, pastor, how many people, how many lost sheep were brought into the flock?
Mm-hmm.
I wish we could ask that, and we can't. There's no way to know it. Some denominations may track it within their churches.
We can have an idea because we know for our church and for our size, just in September, we had 59 salvations. Now, that's not going to be every month, and that's not going to be every church. Some churches will have more. Some churches will have way less.
I think most churches will have way less than that.
Now, all right, I'm going to let you go because I can get off topic.
So the question is, how do we quantify what a conversion is?
Yeah.
Like, what is the point of evangelism?
Because this is the thing. When you're saying, hey, are you a Christian? People are saying yes. But it's like, no, are you like a real follower of the way Christian?
And getting into that, like,
at that point,
I hate that, bro. I'm gonna be honest. When we say, like, when you said we had 59 people, guaranteed. Like, as soon as you said we had 59 people who accepted Christ last month, there are people watching who will go, but are they really saved? And dude, I hate that. I reject that.
People's pushback.
Like, are they really saved? Well, I don't know, but I'm not going to condemn somebody.
Yeah.
I'm not going to assume, well, they're not.
Yeah. No, they
Now I'm
they didn't mean it.
Well, they accepted Christ. They prayed a prayer. We
made a
gave them next steps.
Public
Whether or not
declaration.
they live that out or not, I am going to assume the best. If we as believers immediately go, yeah, but did they really mean it? I mean, dude, that's not a place where you're passionate about evangelism. That's like
Not at
you're
all.
like it's like an exclusivity thing.
Yeah.
You're like, well, you gotta really mean it if you're gonna count that number. Now, the accusation is made because churches will try to be like, we had 4,000 new believers, and it's like, well, you're just trying to pump up your own numbers.
Yeah.
Well, if you're a smaller congregation who's not seeing those, it can be discouraging. But we want to celebrate the wins.
Yes.
If
And that is the most, I mean, if you're ranking wins in the church.
Yeah, I mean, it tells us that for every person whose name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life, the angels are praising.
Throw a party.
Exactly. So we are like joining with heaven and celebrating. Now the angels are going, well, hey, everybody, don't.
Did he really?
Don't celebrate yet. We're not really sure if he meant it. So we're going to schedule the party in a week from now.
They're like, is the name still there?
Yeah. Like God's writing it in pencil and he's got an eraser ready to erase it. That's some backsliding.
That's
Pentecostal. That's a whole nother theological thing.
Topic.
Now, but the point is, what we are talking about when it comes to evangelism is people who are Christians are going out into the world and bringing lost people either in to hear the gospel or bringing the gospel to the people. That's two different strategies, and many people do that in different ways. But
and both are needed.
Yeah. Okay.
You need a strong invite culture that can bring people into here.
Yep.
And you need people who know how to go out, who are equipped already
Yeah.
to just on the moment. Dude, we say it all the time. You know, like we've made it so simple. ABC, you can do this. You have the authority to do this.
Yeah.
It is a gift.
Yeah.
So if
it's authority and responsibility.
Yeah.
Like Jesus left, said a helper is coming, and you guys got work to do.
Preach.
And he said it would be better for me to leave because you guys could do this with his help, and I'm going to go and prepare for my return.
Mm-hmm.
So, pretty amazing. Okay, here's the thing. The cold, hard truth is that more people are leaving the church than they are joining it.
Yes.
In America, we have got to figure out how can we reach a post-Christian nation, because the strategies that have been used, that are being implemented by churches the same way for decades, they're not reaching lost people. We need to pivot. We need to figure out some different strategies. And some churches are crushing it. And so we know strategies that work, and we're going to talk about it. So here are some of the failing methods. The methods that have worked in the past that aren't working.
Hit them. Sound them off.
I think most people have recognized this isn't a great way to reach people. The door-to-door visitation.
Nope.
Now, here's the thing. Jehovah's Witnesses, they will live and die on that hill. They're like, we are going to evangelize. Door-to-door is the way to go.
They even take bicycles.
Okay, and that's fine. But now they have a reputation, and people are annoyed by it.
There's so
and
many
they don't
parody
like
videos
it.
already at this point.
Right. And so if somebody's knocking on our door saying, hi, have you heard about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ?
People just like mess with them now.
Like,
and now it's like people are making a joke off of it,
now,
which is still freaking wrong.
Here's why I think this strategy worked before but doesn't work now. Used to be, your neighbors needed something, they would come and knock on your door.
You got a cup of sugar?
Yeah.
You got a stick of butter?
Used to be, people would just drop in and see, hey, Uncle Timmy, what's going on, Uncle Timmy? Like, people are just coming to your house because there wasn't this form of communication that we have now called a phone or the internet or text messages. So it was normal for someone to knock on your door and talk to you.
Yeah.
There were literally entire industries built around, I am a door-to-door salesman.
Yeah.
There's only a few industries that still do that. Roofing guys, landscaping guys.
Yeah, I mean, go-getters go and get it. And I guarantee you the top 2% of Jehovah's Witness people, I guarantee you they still get it.
But you don't have a guy traveling around with a bunch of vacuums in the back of his van anymore trying to sell vacuums to people by going door to door. And if he is, I'm going to tell you right now, you could sell a lot more vacuums on Google with some ads.
Yeah.
So
that's one way.
Okay.
Which is clearly, I mean, I know how I feel about it.
So it's a little forward. It's a little aggressive. People no longer view their home as a place where people can come and say hello. It's like now when you ring the doorbell, everybody's like, pretend we're
Yeah,
not home.
literally.
Okay, so that's not going to work. Mass mailings, and
It gets thrown away just like everything else.
it's junk mail.
Yeah.
Now, any church that does mass mailing, hopefully it would be done in tandem with other strategies.
Well, it's like, did I send you a picture recently? It's like I got one in the mail.
Oh, you did? Of a
Remember?
church.
Remember of a
Yeah.
church, and it was like, oh, we're at the Spaz, come check us out. And it's like, man, that's awesome. Because like as a church, you're like, hey, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like not even deep down, surface level, you're like, this isn't gonna work.
So if
Like
I'm
you probably could have used your resources maybe better.
right, if I'm a Christian looking for a church, it could be a good strategy.
Yeah.
But somebody who is not a believer receives junk mail from a church, that's not going to, they don't think they need Jesus.
Well, that's
So
the
you're
thing.
not going to be able to reach them with that.
I already imagine there's gonna be someone commenting that's like, well, you don't know what that. I imagine there's gonna be some people across the country that are in need of a sign, and they happen to
get
open up
that.
their mail and it's there.
For sure.
It's gonna happen. The
For
same
sure.
way that one Facebook video gets you. The same reason why you donate 25 cents to a dog every
Right.
month.
Right. But the amount of money
Yes,
that your church would
exactly.
spend on sending out mass mailers
That's what I mean.
is probably not a good use of your funds. There's some
not the
other
best use
things
of
you
it,
can
for
do
sure.
that would result in more
Interaction.
salvations.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's the goal. What we talked about, evangelism, is people making a decision to accept Christ. That's how
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about today. So,
That's definitely not up there. What else?
crusades and tent revivals.
I mean, so that's like the time where my dad came from,
It
and it
was
worked.
Billy Graham.
It worked.
It was the best strategy for reaching people at the time, I think.
Because they'd be like in the middle of some city,
Yeah.
and you knew something was going on,
Right.
And the amazing thing is, there's some crazy stories. Like
Yeah.
people are getting healed. People like, so when you feel it and then you get to see it, there's like, dude, if you see someone,
Yeah.
get healed of something,
Oh,
it is
you
definitely
you're drawn to it.
encouraging to your spirit to be like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I'm in need of
A
something.
move of God
Yes.
can 100% be positioned. You can capitalize on a move of God to reach lost people.
Yeah.
And I want to be careful. I'm not saying like we're capitalizing on what God is doing. What I'm saying is if God is moving, you've somehow got to show people from the outside that thing
Yeah.
because it will bring them in and then their lives will be changed by it.
Because the most recent one we had was the one at Lee.
Yeah.
Which like went on for like 13 days or maybe more actually.
Yeah.
But it was just
There's been a couple college
24/7.
campuses.
It was just
where they just take off
24/7.
the-
You can come in whenever.
Mhm.
Dude, I had people, friends who were like, I need to go figure out what's going on over there. Like
Yeah,
I need to go
of
be there for
course.
myself. And it's just this tangible.
You had movements like
Yeah.
the Brownsville revival, I think is what it was called. It was a bunch of revivals happening all around the U.S. and
Which fortunately it did so much for the kingdom, but the enemy definitely used it in ways like, okay, here comes the cults.
Yeah.
Here comes the
yeah, and some of the leaders that were involved in those movements, they did have some downfalls.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
it definitely.
But that's tough because I do love that one in a way.
It's a cool idea.
Because it's almost like, hey, let's just go in the public.
Yeah.
And I think you have to be led to do that. If you're just like, hey, church numbers are not working, we got to go to the park this Sunday. No, like I think there has to be someone on the team where it's like, you know what? We can do some form of outreach that we can pair
Okay.
with the evangelism.
So I have a little bit of a theory about tent revivals. I think that the modern equivalent in our modern
I
age
don't think you put
of a
it-
tent revival is the social media presence that a preacher can have. So Stephen Furtick doesn't have to go around and do tent revivals because the modern version of a tent revival is we can video this and send it out to everybody who has Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. And they'll now see that same thing that they would have seen walking by a revival tent in a city. They're now seeing it on their phone.
Yeah.
So I think there is still a version of that, but it's still much more impersonal than a one-on-one invite.
Yeah, I would kind of think that maybe the closest thing that I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But the closest thing that we have to it, where I don't agree, but it's like conferences, but conferences are
Right.
usually filled with, they already have
It's
saved
believers.
people.
Yeah.
So it's like,
And a lot of revivals started with saved people,
Yeah.
but as a move of God happened, it would attract lost people.
Yeah.
So Hey, and by the way, for every dope tent revival you ever heard about, there was probably like 200 that they put on that you never heard about. That flopped.
Guarantee.
And there wasn't that many people that showed up. So it's definitely I think churches will always have to measure the the pros and cons and what will get the highest return on investment.
Yeah.
So when you're when you're using resources to reach lost people, you want to dump the least amount of resources into the most return. I don't want to spend $1 million to save one person. Is one person worth $1 million? Yes. But if you could, with that same $1 million, reach 4,000 people or 1 million people,
Yeah.
that's what you got to do. So you got to figure out that strategy.
You got to weigh it out.
So I think if we've done these things for decades and we're seeing the rates like we've
Go
seen
down.
yeah,
It's time to
then
do
I think
something different.
the method is a problem, right? Now, I think one of the greatest strategies is creating a church where your congregation can invite people to church and they will hear the gospel in church.
Yeah.
I think a lot of like the tracts, remember those where somebody's standing on it, and people still do them. Somebody's standing on a street.
There's someone listening right now who has a cardboard box full of them right now.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you right now. One time a tract made me so angry.
Really?
It made me so
It
angry.
was the truth.
No. I was like, at the time, not making a lot of money. I see $100 bill on the ground. And I'm like,
dude, I've seen that track, dude.
I pick up this $100 bill.
Oh, I've seen that one.
And it's like, this message is worth more than $100.
Yes.
It's
your soul. It's
like,
eternity.
It's like, this is priceless.
Like,
I'm like,
I'd rather
shut the frick up.
$100.
I was like, I already know Jesus. But those
You
tracks,
the trash you just threw back on the floor.
I also received a tract one time that was like, the tract was, evolution is a lie from the enemy, and Jesus is the truth.
Dude, that caught your attention.
Okay, and I grabbed it, and I'm like, who the frick does he think this is changing? Like, who does he think is reading this and going, oh my God, I've been deceived by the enemy.
He's going after the Scientology people.
I need to accept Christ right now and rebuke evolution. Like, what a weird thing to harp on when you're talking about Jesus. So, but here's the problem. The tract is hand it to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping you take this and you read it. It's like here you go.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
but
here's the message.
But that's not how it is usually. It's almost like, repent!
Well, yeah, it's usually partnered with
so if
other strategies where people are.
If it was like used as solely just like a, hey, God loves you watering seed moment, which even then, like you're trying to stop people in the busiest part of their day.
Yeah.
In between, like, and you're just hoping. And it's like, we had a conversation about a guy recently who was like, I only have 40 seconds. I only have 40 seconds, so I need to like use that time so wisely.
Right. So if you're preaching the gospel on a megaphone on a city sidewalk,
like Venice Beach,
a person,
you see him,
from the time they can hear your megaphone to the time they can't anymore.
You got 40 seconds.
40 seconds.
What are you gonna say?
Right.
Because especially if you feel this, and if you feel this massive weight to be like, oh my gosh, like, and that's the thing though, because do you feel this massive weight and God's like, remember that megaphone? Like, if that's what you feel God is leading you to do, He has never led me to do that. Well, dude, that's the problem.
Bro, this is, I wasn't planning to jump into this episode.
I come from that era, though. I don't come from that era, but, like, I have people in my family who have been on the boxes doing that.
I would say preaching on a speaker with a microphone or on a megaphone on a sidewalk.
It's like,
but
hey,
dude,
go for it. No, there is a place for it. Because at the end of the day, that is the black and white of it.
It is bold, but it is the heart behind it. I've never seen it like that. I told you, I saw a video of a guy, and he was the one who was saying, I have 40 seconds to tell them.
Yeah.
And so, like, what if they get in a car accident on the way home? And
yeah, I don't think that 40 seconds of you condemning them is going to make them repent.
But here's what he was saying. He was saying in that 40 seconds, You're destined for hell, and you're going to burn in hell if you don't accept Christ today. Turn away from your sinful ways, lesbianism, homosexuality,
Yeah.
lying, thieving, pornography, sexual immorality. Turn away from your sin or perish in hell for eternity. That's what he decided was the best thing to say
No, yeah, I don't agree with
in those
that.
40 seconds.
But I'm not lumping all them together, because I feel like that isn't as seen as much as it used to. I do think that like we are noticing, and you know who you can thank for it? At least the next generation, Bryce, Crawford.
I mean, I know what you're talking about, but
No.
bro, I see at least once a month a message like that being spoken on a megaphone in Melbourne or Palm Bay at
Really?
an intersection. Yes,
Oh my gosh, dude.
I've seen it in
I haven't
English
seen
and
that.
Spanish.
I haven't seen that.
Sarno Road right here, dude.
I avoid
They
Sarno
freaking
Road.
do it.
Not because of that reason, because I don't like Indian River
Yeah,
coffee.
and here's the thing. That's so messed up. I think the issue here is this person doesn't know who I am. They don't trust me. They don't know anything about me.
Yeah.
And then I'm telling them you're going to burn in hell for eternity.
Yeah, no, dude.
They don't want to listen to anything else you have to say.
Have you stayed to listen long enough? I feel like I haven't even seen a God hates fags sign in a long time. And I used to see those a lot.
No, that's a Westboro Baptist thing. That was one church specifically that kind of like
But no,
coined
even
that.
even like Massachusetts, like you would see a lot of that.
I know that there was a large group of people who were protesting. I don't know exactly what they were saying, but they showed up at the gay parade here in Melbourne
We had a gay parade?
with 80, LGBTQ. It's the Pride
Where
Parade.
the frick have I been?
It's the Pride Parade.
I'm supposed to be at that.
This was like a week or
To
two ago.
evangelize.
Yeah, to evangelize. Well, this group went to evangelize, and their strategy to evangelize was
Oh, that was their take?
preaching from microphones. Now, they were strategic about it. They had people who were walking around. So, okay, this is what they would do. And
You like this idea?
if there's a way to do it, this would be the way. Because they are not trying to convert people from the megaphone. It's to spark a conversation. And there are people who are walking around and they're going like somebody stops and listens. And then they go like this. If they notice they pay attention, they're like paying attention. They'll be like, hey, what do you think about what this guy's saying?
Oh, and then use that as an opportunity.
And then they're like, I think it's bullcrap. And it's like, well, why do you think that? Have you ever thought about like your future and your eternity if you died, where you would go? Here's what I will say. Whether or not it's commendable, whether or not it's the right way to do it, the return on investment is significantly lower than other strategies.
But this is where I think this is the one strategy. These people are never pointing people to church. They're pointing people to heaven or hell. Like these people, rarely are like, "Hey, come
they're
to
probably connected
Discover
to
Life
a church,
I
but
know,
that church is going to be a lot more.
But you're taking 40 seconds to hopefully get them to grasp something instead of 40 seconds to invite them to possibly like a place where they can keep coming back to, where there can be a constant conversation. Because which I've seen is that I like that way is pretty cool, I guess, because then it gives you an opportunity to share your testimony, to share the truth, to be like, but like, and give people the real stuff.
But my point is, I think that going out and inviting people who you know to come with you to church and having a church service that has at least some focus on here's the gospel. If you're here and you don't know Jesus, this is what it looks like to begin a relationship with him. I think that is a better strategy. You get a higher return on your investment as opposed to let's go protest the gay pride parades. Because it's also like you're not going after the people who are like, I'm hurting and I'm broken and I need Jesus. You're like, I'm going to the people who are...
They're already convinced of the...
Now, I think you need to go into the darkness, 100%. I think you need to go into the darkness. But my biggest concern with Christians who go to protest these...
Anything. Any event.
Yeah, my biggest concern with Christians
many.
Who go and preach on a box in the middle of the city or go to protest parades and things, my biggest concern is that they are trying to fight a culture war against the sinners
Mm-hmm.
instead of fighting against the enemy to save the sinner.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they are or aren't doing that. I'm saying that's my concern. I think that it's really easy to go into we're now fighting against the sinner. We're now fighting against the movement that this person stands for, the culture
Yeah.
war.
Yeah.
We're having a culture war as opposed to a spiritual war that we wrestle not against flesh and blood,
Mm-hmm.
but against principalities. Now, you need to fight those principalities. And I'm not sure fighting the person and arguing with them about their sin is the best strategy to fight the enemy on their behalf. Like, I'm fighting against the enemy on their behalf in order to save them.
Yeah.
Like, I want the enemy out of their life.
Mm-hmm.
And we are, whether or not we mean to, the perception is
That's the thing.
you are fighting
Your
against.
intentions never
I
match
am
the perception sometimes.
I am the enemy.
Yeah.
The sinner goes, you are against me.
Yeah.
You are condemning me.
Yeah.
You hate
You
me.
sound like my dad.
You're saying love never fails, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if the strategy to reach lost people is really being done in the right way. If the lost person on the other end of the conversation, their takeaway is this Christian hates me.
Yeah. It's like love covers a multitude of sins. This person has a multitude of sins, and now they feel like you literally are calling them out of their sin.
Right.
And it's like, bro.
No. They don't feel like you're calling them out of their sin. That would be great. Hey, I love you, bro.
No.
Come up out of your sinful nature. But it's not. It's like,
But when that person doesn't even understand sinful, like when they don't even care about that,
yeah,
like they may be saying sin, or we're saying sin, they're probably not using the word sin. They're
no,
just
they
like,
don't think it's a
no,
sin.
they're like, you're coming at my identity or my truth, what I believe in. And when you start
Yeah.
attacking people,
Mhm.
it starts to make you wonder.
Okay. So this is what I was going to say, bro. And I'm glad that you kind of took us here because we can talk about this and
Good.
then kind of shut it down.
Sure.
The churches need to do a better job at being welcoming to lost people and being intentional about preaching the gospel in their services and training their people to go and invite them in.
Yes. Yes.
Now, because this is a problem. You can go so hard on the side of we got to make sure they know about their sin
Mm-hmm.
that evangelism doesn't work because the person who you're talking to thinks that you hate them
Yeah.
and they don't want anything to do with you because the way you said it,
Yeah. You lost them already.
they couldn't receive it.
Yeah.
So you can go that far. You can also go all the way on the other part of the spectrum, which is a lot of the,
Just like babying.
well, there's the Methodist Church and there's a lot of other large denominations that have gone so far
Or they
into
like adopt.
we're accepting,
Yeah.
we're accepting, we're welcoming, and now we are affirming.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about homosexuality specifically, we say, well, we're not, now will we not only speak against the sin, we don't even think it's sin. And in fact, we're totally fine with it.
Yeah.
So you can go from one extreme to the other. You definitely don't want to get so far on the side of we're welcoming and we want an environment where people can come in and feel comfortable
Mm-hmm.
that we are afraid to make them uncomfortable
Yeah.
about their sin.
Yeah. It's like to come as you are, but stay as you are as long as you want. Like
And-
that's what a lot of churches are starting to become. When it's like come as you are, but understand
Yes.
the conversations that we are going to have with you.
Yeah.
You have to create a nice foundation
Yes.
because you have to, which we talk about all the time, you have to make enough deposits before you want to do a withdrawal on someone.
Right.
So especially if you're taking someone on this faith development journey, yeah, the problem is most people already know. Like people grew up in a certain way.
Yeah.
They already know like, oh, this is probably already culturally wrong, or this is already like frowned upon by the church,
Mhm.
or this like whatever. But that doesn't change that can't change our approach.
Yeah.
Because what happens is they still need the love, they still need the godly affirmations, they still need the correcting, they still need the freaking shoulder to cry on because now everything they've associated with love, their
Mhm.
life, their purpose, their goals in life.
Yeah.
We had how like these people now they're just like, oh my gosh.
Well, dude, okay, so this is the scenario, right? If you are a church that is evangelistic, this is what it looks like. A couple main things. Your people invite non-believers to church.
Mhm.
In order for people to be able to invite non-believers to church, they have to be friends with non-believers.
Mhm.
So you need to encourage your congregation. Like, you need to encourage your church. Don't only hang out with Christians.
Yeah. Don't just have a little Christian bubble your
Don't
whole life.
create a place where you never interact with
Yeah.
sinners. Jesus was with sinners all the time. Go and be with sinners.
Mm.
When I say, hey, who are you inviting to church this week? It shouldn't be super hard for you to be like, I can't even think of a person that I could invite.
There has to be a coworker that comes to your mind.
Somebody.
There has to be a guy at the basketball court that comes to your mind. There
Now-
has to become a social media friend that you've seen their posts
Something.
come to your mind.
So you have to interact with non-believers. Get your congregation out of their Christian bubble and
Yes.
go into the world. Now, they need to also invite them in. Now, here's the thing. Most churches, when a person comes in, they don't come back. Like, statistically.
Yeah.
Statistically, most first-time guests do not return to a church. Why is that? There's a bunch of reasons. But if you are never having conversations about what those reasons might be,
Yeah.
you need to fix that
Yeah,
immediately.
that's the first thing you could probably start.
You need to think, if I am a person
Where's
who is
our
a
leak?
non-believer
Yeah.
and I come in, what do I see?
Mhm.
Do I see a welcoming place? This is why I like that churches have gotten away from we wear suit and tie to church,
Mm.
because society doesn't do that.
Yeah.
You do not wear a suit and tie. The richest people in the world wear T-shirts now.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, you don't need that culture.
Yeah, that era.
I'm glad that the church has noticed that. So come as you are. I don't need to be dressed a certain way or look a certain way.
Yeah.
So is a lost person welcomed? Now, when they come in, are we speaking in a way that they can understand?
Yeah. Is there a message that is going to be?
Okay, so check this out. Ready? Hi, yes. We'll be going into the sanctuary, and that's where our service is going to be. And then we'll be doing communion, and there's going to be worship. And then at the end, there will be a gathering in the community hall. Okay. Some of those words I can pick up. Okay, community hall, I get that. Communion, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Sanctuary, I don't know what that is. I'm not saying don't do communion.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't call it a sanctuary. But we lean on the side of,
Most people don't know our church language,
Hey.
our church words, our church vocab.
yeah, so when you're doing churchy language all the time, a lost person is going to stay lost. They're not going to know what the heck you're talking about.
Yeah.
Auditorium is what they know as like a sanctuary.
Yes.
Now, sanctuary is a biblical term. There's a
Yeah.
sanctuary, right? But it's an auditorium, so you could have that as a sign.
Just call it a stage too. You don't gotta.
There's a stage.
Yeah.
Now, there's also an altar.
This is a reverent, which I
Which
understand what
call
you're
it-
saying.
Call it an altar. That's fine. But the point is, talk about these things and explain what they are. If that's what I'm
See,
saying.
dude, but that's
if
the
you
thing.
say these words and you never thought about this, like if you're watching
Yeah.
now and you're like, oh, and I never really thought about that because I always knew what that was.
Dude.
Lost people don't.
Just keep it super simple.
Yeah,
I
but-
believe
Well, that's
that's
true.
my way.
That's true. Maybe the altar is not a good example of
But I'm
that.
just saying, no,
Because
I like
altar
what you're
is we
saying.
sacrifice
I-
things,
yes,
so there is a
I
biblical
know.
reason for that.
But like, let's
You gotta
let's-
teach them that,
Yeah,
though.
let's get them freaking
Okay,
connected first.
Okay, when they come in, is it a bunch of people speaking in tongues? I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. That is scary to people who don't know what it is.
It's
And-
scary
and-
to people who do know what it is.
And there are biblical scriptures that the apostles were rebuking churches for doing that so much that people would come in and say, "Are you drunk? Like, are you guys drunk?" It's like they were saying, "Hey, it would be better for you to speak in words that these people can understand." So that's something for us to take away.
yes, dude.
I'm
'Cause
not
I'm
saying-
all for it.
I'm
But
not saying
you don't need to make it a public.
I speak in tongues.
Yeah,
I have a
that's what I'm saying.
personal prayer language, and I speak in tongues during worship.
Which I mean,
But we are strategic about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be honest.
it just
Hey,
it just makes you look.
a lot of worship leaders, they start speaking in tongues when they don't know what else to do.
Yeah,
It-
they
it's
can't
like a-
transition moments or flow.
Well, it's like a habitual thing.
Yeah,
It's like when
I
you're
think that's what most preachers have started to
It's
do.
like when you're talking and you have a couple phrases that you say, like,
Yeah.
And that's why blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and that's why blah blah blah, and so blah blah blah. It's like, praise God, shanda da ba sada. We thank you, Heavenly Father, shanda da ba
yeah,
shanda. It's like, I don't know what I'm not really sure
That's
what
another
that is.
episode.
Like, because you're
The
preaching
tongues
or you're
episode.
leading worship, yeah, and we can do that. But the problem is a lot of churches are doing that, and they haven't stopped and asked themselves, well, hold on. Of course, we know the story where our pastor, we know this story, and we'll tell you guys. Our pastor says, hey, we want to reach lost people. And the board says, well, are you saying that we're going to quench the spirit?
Yes. And
He
then the
says,
fruits of
he says, we're going to reach lost people. And they say, well, are you going to quench the spirit? And he goes, okay, here's a piece of paper and a pen. All of you, write down the gifts of the Spirit. You say you want the gifts of the Spirit active. You think that you want them in our services. That's what's important. We can't quench the Spirit. Write down the gifts of the Spirit. I'll give you a hint. There's 9 of them. And he left. And then came back in the room. And he said none of them could write more than like 4.
Yeah.
And most of their answers were things that aren't gifts of the Spirit.
That people just think. Same
And
with
I think a lot of the
stripper.
churches that say you're quenching the Spirit, if you were to do the same exercise, you would get the same results.
Because they're associating the Spirit with a feeling.
It's a feeling, and then you want to have that feeling. So if that's the environment that non-believers are coming into, they're not gonna come back because they don't know what's going on.
High chance they're gonna be
They
weirded
could be
out,
scared.
and they're gonna try the next church if they're still looking for something.
Right. And so
You don't want to be the church that goes like, oh man, like hope the next one's not like that.
Yeah.
You need to ask yourself these questions.
Yeah. So here's another main thing. If your services are going to be a place where evangelism happens, you have to do an opportunity to accept Christ.
Dude.
I don't
the amount of churches I've
understand.
been to where they don't do an altar call moment at the end,
Bro.
I almost am just like, I would have rather spent an hour on YouTube. You just, like, what did you just do? You just had a cool club. You talked about Jesus, which I know you talked about because it's a cool message. But now what?
Yeah, there's people.
Are you just preaching to your church friends?
So here's the thing: if you have a small church and you know the whole room is full of all your people, and there are no new believers coming
Would you
in,
even do the altar call?
I think that's what a lot of churches do. They do an altar call, and nobody comes forward.
And have to do it.
So if you are a large church with thousands of people and you're not doing an altar call every Sunday, or at least pointing to something that could lead to a decision. I mean, I don't know. There's different strategies for it, but if I attend a service, bro, I'm like, I think you're missing a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's kind of alarming to me. Like, you were just given thousands of people, and hundreds of them potentially don't know Jesus. They haven't accepted Christ. And you didn't take advantage of that opportunity?
Dude, you know why
I
I do love that? That's what I've always known. Like I've always since my parents' church, my grandparents' church, and even this church, Discover Life.
Like, it's weird to find out people don't do it.
Yeah, no, I'm not even like super high on that raise a hand connection card thing. Like I've always loved that when people come down to the altar
forward.
Because whether it's truth or not, there is a reality, and dude, people are going to hate this, and you've heard it so much, but if you can't come down here in a room full of people, you're probably going to have a very tough time going out and to evangelize. In the spirit of evangelism, it's like, dude, you better get bold with your faith. Right? If you are someone who's like, I need to walk up there and recommit my life or accept Jesus, and you're already going to go into this life, dude, be as bold as possible in the beginning, because it's going to get very hard if you are already just shying away to like, I'll do that. Dude, you are not going to have the conversation at the vending machine. You're not going to, dude, maybe, but there's a high chance that you are just going to have this little Christian bubble wrap.
It's possible, but I think that's like a next step. If you're not doing anything, freaking do the hands raised. Heads bowed, eyes closed.
Yes, which you do.
Do you want to know what I hate about it?
But what?
When the pastors do this, all heads bowed, all eyes closed. If there's anyone here who would like to accept Christ, raise your hand. And dude, I'm on the worship team, so I see the stage. I know nobody's done that here. This has been at other churches or like events or conferences I've been at.
Yeah, we don't do that.
And I'm on stage.
Bow your head,
they say,
close your
bow
eyes.
your head and close your eyes. And if that's you, would you raise your hand? And I've seen preachers go like, I see you. I see you.
To try to encourage the room.
And ain't no hands raised. Yeah. There's no hands raised. I've even heard, man, there's hands all over this room raised right now. Let's give God glory. And it's like, there was 2 people.
Yeah, dude. Or dude, I mean, It is one of those things, though, where if you are a church and if there's a season, call it a quarter of the year,
Mm-hmm.
and like no one is coming to the altar, and you're just at a point now where it's like,
Right.
all right, well, thanks for a room full of believers. Like every week,
Yeah.
you might want to change your schedule, change your calendar, and go into some invite training,
Yeah.
and dude, make the gospel as simple as it is.
Yeah.
Stop trying to work on your preaching skills.
Right.
Stop trying to practice the new dang song.
Yeah.
Figure out how are we going to get the gospel in the hearts of lost people.
And I don't think the best strategy for that is always, hey, well, let's set up a booth at our
No.
community fair.
No.
It's like,
It's perfect your
you need
Sunday
to get
experience.
and then get your people to go and do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why I had mentioned the invite culture has to be in place.
Yeah.
And then you need to have a place where non-believers feel welcome. These are
Mhm.
like the main points.
Yeah.
Invite culture, number 1. Number 2, a place where non-believers are welcomed in.
Yeah.
And then number 3, an opportunity to accept Christ.
Yeah.
And then I think the 4th thing is just as important. You have to have a next
I
step.
was gonna say you have to have next steps for them to
Do
take.
not.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest reason why I don't like the heads bowed and eyes closed, is because there's a much lower chance that they're going to tell us.
Yeah.
We're going to get their information, and then we can walk that journey with them. If we have someone come down to the altar, or at least raise their hand and you get a card from them, something, you have a connect with that person. I mean, for us, and I love when churches do this. I've seen a Church by the Glades did this as well. People accepted Christ, and they literally took them out into a room before anybody else left. They're like, hey, grab your stuff. We would love to give you a Bible.
Yep.
We're going to tell you what your next steps are.
Yeah.
And so would you go with our next steps team right now?
And explain what you just did too.
Exactly. So in that next
Yes.
steps conversation, you need to give them an opportunity to be baptized. That's another thing, that if you're an evangelistic church, do baptisms.
Mhm.
If you do baptisms once a year.
Don't force baptism, instruct.
Yeah, but if you do
Baptism.
hey, we're doing our yearly baptism service.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you should have so many people that need to be baptized. You got to do it at least once a month. I mean, you got to be baptizing people. That's another sign of an evangelistic congregation if there's baptisms happening. Okay? They need to be given an opportunity to be baptized, and then they need to be, whatever the discipleship process at your church is, whatever the, hey, if it's
Which we're going to talk about in the next one.
if it's small groups, if it's maybe you have like a Wednesday night service or something, get them plugged into that. And of course, get them a Bible, get them reading a plan.
Yeah.
There's a couple, you need to give them next steps, and then don't leave them hanging.
Yeah.
I love the idea of being like walking with someone to the altar and walking with someone from the altar.
Yeah.
The disciples had disciples.
Yeah.
So imagine after somebody gets saved, you have a person who's like, hey, Jimmy, my name's PJ. I'm going to get your number. Man, I'll text you tomorrow. Let's get coffee this week.
Yeah.
That's what happened with Bryce, who talking
Yes.
last week. Some guy basically just said, hey, dude, let's go to the library. Let me show you some stuff in the Bible. Let's go grocery shopping. He was just like, I'm going to hang out with you. You need those kinds of people.
Yes.
Identify the leaders who are willing to walk with new believers.
Yes.
And let them run with it. Let them do it.
Yeah. And
equip them, but let them do it.
If you are still the church where it's you and your wife, or you and your wife and your lead team who are always these people, you need to start maybe having your own small group with your leaders and create people. Yeah, and create some people who can do it. That's why it's like there's someone who got saved.
Yeah.
And we can wrap up with this because I think our next episode we're going to be talking about all this stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But there was someone in our church who got saved at a men's conference at our church.
Right.
And I've seen him stick around. Because that's like something that, like, as if you've been around for a leader, sometimes you jump on someone early and you're like, right? And then it's like they fizzle out. And then you could either feel guilty because maybe you didn't discipleship them well, which is not normally always the truth.
Yeah.
There could be other factors. But he stuck around, and then there's one who was like, hey, and I do what you just said, let's get coffee. And then I kind of just like explained so much stuff. And it was such a cool conversation because it became like, "Hey, do you know the story of the prodigal son? No, never heard of it. Dope. Hey, do you
Cool.
know the and all of a sudden it just became like, "Hey, let me teach you."
Yeah.
Because in return, a couple weeks later, it was like, "Hey, come meet this kid." And now he's doing, to a degree,
What you
s
did
and
with
dude,
him,
it's that easy.
which
We
is how it's
we
supposed to
put
work.
so much on people.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, whatever you're learning in the Bible,
Mhm.
if you're unsure of it, come back to me.
Right.
We'll clear it up. But then, dude, spill yourself out.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to go on. Dude, trust the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Trust what you're reading in the Bible.
Yeah.
Trust what your leaders and what you're learning on a Sunday that you're fact checking.
Mhm.
But don't just hold it in, because there is always another person who you can reach that I'll never reach.
For sure. We're definitely going to continue next week.
We're gonna give more
We
practical.
got to. So I just want to pose like a scenario that we will go over next week,
Okay, hit it.
and that
Go.
will
I'll be the guy.
hopefully make you guys want to tune
I'll
in
be
the
the guy.
next week. One of the biggest things that we are always being asked is your church, and we had already talked about this, is your church gay affirming?
End it right there.
Is your church gay affirming? And I'm not going to get into all that. What I want to get
You're gonna
into
have to
is
come back.
one of the hardest demographics that I think churches are struggling to reach is this LGBTQ
Yes.
trans community, and a lot of uh, a lot of philosophies that are counter to our biblical worldview, and they are center point, like they are the center of many of these people's lifestyles, and their philosophy is built around
Yes.
something that we believe is sinful. And that is a really difficult thing to
Yeah.
reach.
Yeah. It's very rare that in that one conversation,
Right.
someone's just gonna throw away their entire sinful life.
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh man, he's so." No, dude, because we've even seen God had to have the conversations with people. So there's gonna be conversations.
And I'm not going to get into all the details of it. We can do that next week.
Yeah.
But this is the question. Many people have very strong opinions about that.
Yeah.
Like, that's where you get the people protesting the gay pride parade.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you need to tell them that they're going to hell. They have to know. Like, what if this is the only chance you get to tell them and they get in a car accident on their way home?
Yeah.
So that's one strategy. The other scenario is we're going to let them join our church. We're going to baptize them. We're
Let him serve.
not going to tell them that this is a sin until they trust us. Until they know we love them and we care about them. And then eventually we believe the Holy Spirit will open the door for a conversation. And that's when we tell them about their sin.
That's another.
I picked the LGBTQ. It could be anything. It could be alcoholism. It
Yeah.
could be
It could be whatever your community has a high rate of.
right. So the sin in a person's life. When do you address the sin? And how do I reach someone? But I want to make sure that me telling them about their sin isn't going to stop me from being able to
Yes,
tell them
dude.
about Jesus.
Yeah.
So here's a scenario, and this is the question I pose to the person who says, you got to tell them right away. Let's say you preach from the stage, and this is going to happen if you become an invite church, an evangelistic church. This is what's going to happen. You preach the gospel from the stage. You give an altar call. 2 women come forward. They accept Christ together. They go into the next steps room. You find out they're a lesbian couple. They've been married for 10 years, and they have an adopted daughter who is, 6 years old. They've raised her for 6 years. They get saved. Do you then tell them, like, hey, you accepted Christ, Lucy and, Samantha? Okay. I don't know. I'm trying to think of names. Lucy and Samantha. So Sam, like, since you guys accepted Christ, like Sam and Lucy, you guys are going to need to find a different place to live. And you're going to need to work out some kind of custody moving forward and set up an appointment. Make sure you get your divorce finalized. And you've got this daughter now, so you guys are going to have to figure out, who gets them on what weeks. And like, are you going to do that? Like, they just got saved. Are you then going to, like, their life is built around this thing.
Yeah.
It is not so easy when it comes down the practical side of it to just tell them they're in sin. Maybe you can, but then what?
I know what I want to say, but they got to wait till next week.
So we're gonna wait till next week to actually break it down.
Like, if you just
You
put me in
can
that
do-
scenario,
You can do the same.
I'm in the next steps room, and I have to have that conversation.
Yeah.
I'll
But
answer
you
next
can
week.
do the same exact scenario with a couple who are heterosexual. It's a girlfriend and her boyfriend. They've been living together for 5 years.
Yes.
They have sex regularly. They were sinners 30 minutes ago.
There's so many. Yeah,
They accepted Christ.
It
They
applies
go into the
to
back
so
room.
much more sin.
Are you going to tell them? Well, they have a year lease.
Yeah.
No, hey man,
Break
I
it.
know you guys need to, well, whether or not you break up, you can't go
break the
home
lease.
with her. So, like, you're gonna have to find another place. Well, we moved here from out of state. I have nowhere else to go. Well, you know, you
can stay at the church.
maybe you're gonna need to sleep in your car
If you
for a
turn
bit.
these 3
or-
chairs to face those 3 chairs, it makes it like a bed.
Well, that's the thing. Oftentimes, you're not going to. Well, let's get into it next week.
I was going to say, yeah. I feel like you keep wanting to get into it now.
I want to pose this question. We're not going to answer it.
I think that's what
I'm
you
not
should
going
do.
to tell you how to address it, but I wanted to
Okay.
give. That's the challenge that we are facing in our society in a post-Christian nation. Evangelism is not as simple and black and white as many people pretend that it is, or are in deception to think that it is.
Yeah. Yes,
So,
that's much true.
We'll continue next week. Thank you guys for watching. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
There is, but it pertains to what we just talked about.
So
I'm going to hold it.
So we'll continue next
I'll
week.
hold it.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching The Dumb Saints. We'll see you guys next week.
For the juicy stuff.
Hallelujah.
Come on.